3, 4. The Joshua tree with its arms raised, the way that you found me. I said to come this way, and you never second-guessed. You believed in the Wild West. Come to see the ageless tree. You know the desert won't show everything waiting to grow, everything waiting to grow. The desert queen through the gold rush, everybody dreams, but now all that's left is us. We may have come here for the thrill, but we stay through force of will. Come to see Death Valley. You know the desert won't show everything waiting to grow, everything waiting to grow. Give me a little bit of rain, I wanna believe it's true. We don't wait in vain, no, the desert will bloom. All the juniper, all the willow vine, and all the beauty underneath, coming up to shine. The Joshua tree in the darkness, the way that you found me on the road to this. And we take comfort in the fact that there is no turning back. Come to see the ageless tree. You know the desert won't show everything waiting to grow, everything waiting to grow, everything waiting.
And you're listening to Catie Curtis live. Hey, Catie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. And you're from Boston?
Yes, originally from Maine, but I migrated south to Boston.
Get in a warmer climate.
Yeah, I couldn't take it up there in Maine.
I want to read a quote by Scott Alaric. Scott, I guess, works for the Boston Globe. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay. And he said, there's a sophisticated simplicity about Catie's singing and songwriting that brings to mind Suzanne Vega. And there's lots of quotes. You've been playing for a little bit. Well, maybe tell us a little bit about your musical history.
Sure. Well, back in the early 90s, I was just starting out, and I traveled around and, did all the gigs I could with the no support from the industry until I finally got signed in 95 to EMI Records. And I put out 2 or 3 records with them, and they really helped me to get launched, to get some radio airplay. I had a recording called Truth from Lies and one called Catie Curtis, and I got a lot of, airplay and film and TV work from those 2 records. And my focus, performance-wise, has always been on the folk scene and the small clubs, and I just love playing these grassroots folk venues where the promoters are true and authentic people and who care about the music. And so in 2002 I became a mom, so I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old now, so I keep touring. Lucky for me, my partner's home all the time, and so I still travel, but a little bit less, but I'm still putting out records. Currently I'm with Compass Records. Over the years I've been with Vanguard Records and Ryko Disc, and now I'm with Compass, and I'm getting ready to make a new record. Actually, I put out one with Compass last year called Long Night Moon. But I continue to tour nationally and sometimes in Europe, sometimes getting, songs placed still in film and TV. And once in a while I get the chance to go on a tour opening for, Mary Chapin Carpenter, or doing shows with people like Dar Williams and all kinds of other wonderful folk singer-songwriters.
I wanted to ask you about your songwriting. Another quote here, and this is from Sue Bell of the Boston Phoenix. She's one of the best singer-songwriters recording today. So I just wanted to ask about your songwriting, your approach to it, and I always like to ask any tips you might have for up-and-coming and struggling songwriters.
I guess the first thing would be that self-doubt and a sense of mystery about where the songs come from is very normal. And so even after all these years of writing and, making a living for 12 years and numerous awards, I still approach each song like I am a beginner and I don't know what I'm doing. And I think that's okay, because we don't really I don't understand completely how these songs come together. But it's good to keep honing your sensibility about what makes it a real song. Like there are times when I will write, I can write stuff, like I can make up stuff, but it doesn't feel, I know the difference between when something feels like a fake or like I'm just kind of jamming versus when a song begins to come into focus. And there's usually one image that will grab me and I'll know that this is the kernel of a song. And from that kernel I can build. Sometimes it's a melodic, take the song I just wrote. I started kind of jamming with the chords and the melody, and I'm just playing very sort of free form as I'm improvising and making something up. And something about the first line about the Joshua tree with its arms raised, I knew as soon as I had the melody in that first line that there is so much symbolism and depth to that particular tree and that the life in the desert and what that brings, both on a very sort of physical and concrete plane in terms of, the difficulty of growth in a desert, yet the variety of species that live in a desert, as a metaphor for difficult journeys that we go on, where you want to try to be on that journey, but it's you're challenged by it and you're not sure if anything's going to come from it. And I guess the song is about having faith that there will be growth if you kind of persevere. So to me, it's like I need to have something like that pop out where it's like, okay, there's a lot of meat to this. I can work on this, as opposed to other days when I'm just writing and for some reason all I'm coming up with is, I'm walking under a street light. I'm in my car. These images that are fine, but they're not taking me anywhere unusual and special. So I keep having to work for those moments where I'm like, oh, there's a song in
there
that.
There it is.
Yeah.
In kind of the folky singer-songwriter thing, there's more latitude, I guess you'd say, in terms of things like song structure and the traditional song structure you might learn, verses, chorus, bridge, that kind of stuff. How, in terms of structure of the songs, to what extent do you use that traditional kind of stuff versus more free form, I guess you'd say?
Yeah, I would say I'm somewhat of a sort of classic traditionalist in my structures. I almost always have a verse, chorus, or a verse tag. I frequently have a bridge, and I really try for choruses where there's at least a moment, if not a whole chorus, that's sing-alongable and memorable. And I guess I really respect the fact that it's a oral process, that people need to get it from hearing it, not from reading it, and that they need to get it the first. They need to at least be compelled by it the first time, and then hopefully they get more out of it each time they listen to it. But I'm into a pretty straightforward and a structure that the brain can recognize pretty quickly and wrap its mind around so that they can get to the deeper stuff pretty, easily, as opposed to it just kind of washing over them and feeling like a amorphous blob.
Well, I've always thought, even with the folk crowd, that they still want to be entertained.
Oh, yeah.
And,
yeah, definitely.
And I think that's where things like song structure comes in, instead of, a 15-verse song that you hear a lot with some especially
Yeah.
well, not just new songwriters.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I think, you have to play to your strengths. And for me, I think I'm a melodic writer, and I can write these sort of memorable melodies with hopefully a lyric that is poignant enough or compelling enough to keep it going. There are other people who have the strength of just riffing on one image after another and can do a 15-verse song that actually stays really interesting and moves along and tells a story. It's not my style, really.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But I respect when people can.
Yeah,
do that.
really, like Bob Dylan. Right?
Yeah, let's face it. There are those that can pull it off.
Let's hear another song here.
Sure. I'm going to play something from Long Night Moon, and this one, it reminds me of songs that I learned from my parents that were like songs from the 20s. And I think I got reminded of my love for that type of song by doing some listening and feedback sessions with Mark Orelli, who I've co-written with a bit over the years. And sometimes he has this timeless classic quality to his songs that remind me of the songs I learned as a child from my grandparents' generation. And anyway, I wrote this one called It's a Wonder. Every day the sun up she comes, hand over hand. Every night the stars arrange themselves like a marching band. But people don't live that way. They do whatever they want to do. And with all the twists and turns we take, it's a wonder that I found you. In the times when I was on my own, if I'd had the sense, I'd have looked for somebody guileless and true, and we'd have dropped our pretense. But people don't live that way. We hide behind what we do, and with all that gets in the way, it's a wonder that I found you. And I could spend every single day afraid of losing your love, or I could spend every night thanking the stars above. But people don't live that way, thinking what they've got to lose. But on this moonlit night we say, it's a wonder that I found you. It's a wonder you love me too. It's a wonder that I found you.
Nice song. That's on your newest CD?
It's on Long Night Moon, yeah.
Yeah, wow. You mentioned earlier that you've written some songs with Mark Orelli, and you see from the Boston area, too.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was one song that won, grand prize, and why don't you just say a little bit about that?
Sure. We submitted it to the International Song Competition, where apparently 15,000 songs across all genres, hip-hop, country, you name it, folk being one of the smaller categories in there, I'm sure. And our song, People Look Around, which we wrote right after Hurricane Katrina, won the top prize, the grand prize of all those
That's great.
submissions. And yeah, it was very sweet.
Did anything in particular, anybody approach you that since you won that, or they want to, put it in a movie or anything?
Actually, someone did approach us that wanted to create a little movie around it, and I don't know if that's happening, but it gave me the opportunity to think more about what's going on in New Orleans. And I went down to New Orleans a year ago and made a video for the song, and it just was incredibly haunting to be down there and see how much of it is still untouched since the flooding and not rebuilt. And so if you go to my website, catiecurtis.com, you can actually watch the video.
I was going to ask you that. When you want to do it?
Sure. The Mississippi River divides this land in two, like the way we tend to think of things, black and white, red and blue. And if they can keep us fighting about marriage and God, there'll be no one left to notice if our leaders do their jobs. And the truth is bigger than these drops of rain falling. The truth is bigger than these drops of rain falling in the ocean, falling. When the water is rising and there is no higher ground, you can wave your hands up on the roof, but you might be left to drown. In the streets of New Orleans, a makeshift funeral pall, here lies Vera, God help us all. And the truth is bigger than these drops of rain falling. The truth is bigger than these drops of rain falling in the ocean, falling. Jesus said, feed the hungry. Jesus said, help the poor. Take care of each other. Love one another. People, look around. We let them down. The Mississippi River flooded New Orleans, and we stared in disbelief at our TV screens. And if they can keep us fighting another endless war, how many tears before the truth cannot be ignored? And the truth is bigger than these drops of rain falling. The truth is bigger than these drops of rain falling in Lake Pontchartrain, falling in the ocean, falling.
And if you're just joining us, this is Catie Curtis singing right here in front of me. And that song was called People Look Around. And again, it was the grand prize winner at the International Songwriting
Competition. Yes,
Competition. That's great.
Thank you.
I was thinking, in folk music, the idea of singing about issues, politics, probably goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about Bruce Springsteen,
Mm-hmm.
who just came out and I don't know if criticism, maybe it is the right word, like criticizing him for writing songs that were political, which I thought was pretty interesting. Because sometimes you wonder, you think of people like Dylan and Phil Oakes, and whether the songs ever do anything. And yet it hit a nerve when he came out with some of the songs he did. And I wanted to ask you, what are some over the years? I know that the one song I'm thinking about that I played, the one about the hole people go through. What's the name of that song?
That's called Hole in the Bucket.
Yeah,
it's
Hole
not
in
the
the Bucket.
traditional of Hole in the Bucket. It's about the social services
Right.
and how people fall through the cracks. And at the time, I was working as a social worker, and I was just writing about what I saw. And so you're asking if I have other songs.
What are some of the issues that you
Yeah.
have written about or write about?
Throughout the years, I usually have a political song or two on every record, and in some years it's been issues of tolerance around sexual identity, gay sort of issues. Sometimes, I wrote a song with Mary Gaucher about the sugarcane industry and how they burn the sugarcane fields to harvest them quicker, and basically it's toxic for people. You know, all the smoke in the South is a health hazard, but, you know, it was sort of a metaphor for corporate greed. And on my last record, I have a song I wrote with Mark called Passing Through. That's just sort of a, it's really a call to be aware of how our lives are short here. Let's try and do something positive. It's less an issue song and more of, let's wake up and participate in a way that's meaningful in this life where we could do so much good. And I have a song about domestic violence on one of my earlier CDs. The song is called "The Wolf." So these things come up over the years, and sometimes they become staples in my show for a while, and sometimes I just find after a while I need to move on from sort of focusing on that particular thing. But I think it's part of the journey for me as a folk singing songwriter to just be tuned into the things that people are concerned about, and to try to reflect some of that back to the audience in a way that hopefully isn't a downer, but you're just kind of naming the elephant in the room. The fear. I have a newer song that's basically about our sort of fear-based culture, where people are like running for cover in ways that aren't helpful, because we need to be courageous and make positive change as opposed to just being self-protective. And and then in other ways, it's like my songs continue to be just so much about love and relationships, and the complications, and being a parent, and trying to, I don't know, just trying to understand all of that love, desire, responsibility, etc. in the context of songs.
What have been a couple songs that you maybe been doing for some time, because and it doesn't have to be political songs, any song, just because it has gotten such a great reaction time and time again?
Well, one of the songs that I've been playing probably the most since like 94 or 95 is a song that came out on my 96 release, Truth from Lies, and it's a song I wrote for my dad, and it's about his motto in life, which is never throw anything away. And I wrote this, I'm tuning into an open D tuning as I speak, but I wrote this when he retired from 35 years of teaching high school. And the song's called Dad's Yard. He's got an old chair, it's got no seat, cracked snowshoes and warped wooden skis, hardcover books, pages all turned brown. My dad has a reason for everything he keeps around. So if you need something when times get hard, you can probably find it in my dad's yard. And if you need hope, if you're coming apart, you can surely find it in my dad's heart. You never really know just what might be in store if you go in the barn and open boxes on the second floor. 'Cause underneath the paper, crumpled up in balls, you might find a gem, or you might find nothing at all. That's the fun of it, it's that mystery in all these things bearing other people's history. You can look at this stuff and wonder where it's been, or you can pick it up and you can use it again. So if you need something times get hard, you can probably find it in my dad's yard. And if you need hope, if you're coming apart, you can surely find it in my dad's heart. Well, he can see the beauty beneath the dust and the grime. He can see potential where the rest of us are blind. He will polish the gray until it shines clear blue. And if you know my dad, well, he won't give up on you. So if you need something when times get hard, you can probably find it in my dad's yard. And if you need love, if you're coming apart, you can surely find it in my dad's heart. Ooh.
And we've been listening and talking to you today on Fiddles and Frets, Catie Curtis, in the studio, which happens to be my living room. In internet radio, we don't need no stinking studios.
That's right. We just drive around in our cars and play our guitars and sit in living rooms and talk.
That's right. And I was wondering, in terms of what you're looking forward to, any things new on the horizon?
Well, I'm hoping to record a new record, which is always exciting. And I'm thinking about doing this one in Nashville because Compass is based there. And they are a musician-run label, Gary West and Allison Brown. Allison Brown's a Grammy-winning banjo player, and her husband, Gary West, run the label, and he could potentially be involved in producing it. I haven't quite figured that out yet or not. But I'm also looking forward to, I'm playing on a cruise coming up in the next couple of weeks, and a trip to the West Coast, which may actually be done by the time this is broadcast. But I'm always, just looking a week or two ahead at my schedule. It's a little overwhelming to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
But I am, I really enjoy going to these rooms where I, many times I've been before, and I'm familiar with the very cool and dedicated promoters, and I like bringing I have a lot of new songs right now, so I enjoy bringing new material to the rooms and having having a different experience wherever I go. It's not like a 9-to-5 job, It's like
Exactly.
every day. It's like, wow, that's interesting.
And if people want to get your CDs, want to see where you're playing, and I know you have a website, and what is that again?
So it's CatieCurtis.com, and Catie is spelled Catie, Curtis, CURTIS.com.
Are you also on like CD Baby and that kind of stuff?
I don't think I am actually, because I've got record labels that are doing their own distribution.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, we're going to have you go out on a song, but I wanted to thank you very much for coming on.
You're very welcome. This is called Kiss That Counted. Summer rain, incoming tried to warn you that this would be the before.